We are. Who are you?
My name's Hassan Hajjaj, Moroccan-based artist.
And where are you? Where are we?
So we're at 193 Gallery in Paris. I'm here for a group show with three other artists. So today is the opening, obviously.
How did you meet Jerome Sands?
Sorry?
How did you meet the curator, Jerome?
Do you know, we met, I think just through, well, Jerome, I've known him for a long time. Um, Before here, I think we have Morad as a friend in common. So I was very happy he was involved with this project because he really brought a different energies to the gallery, and he was very helpful. Like when we was 2 days ago, we was finishing off, so he had some good points. And I know he has a great taste and a good eye, and obviously, it's sort of very experienced with with stuff he's done in the past. So for me, it was a very nice way to kind of finish off the show the way it looked.
Because it was funny downstairs where they serve drinks. They made it to match your art.
Yeah,
No.
so it's funny now because when I came on Sunday, the kitchen was very much a kitchen. It was just like it had mosaic and glasses and stuff like this. So I decided to just go to Barbers and buy all these Arabic drinks and try to make it into a colourful installation. We've got the kind of my artwork on the comptoir as well, to really bring the kitchen with the rest of the room, because it was really like an eyesore.
Totally.
And just that's really just more for colour and fun, and also trying to keep that Arabic kind of Arabizing the space as well by having all this beautiful Arabic fonts on the bottles.
Which was
So also
great.
playing on that kind of church glass when you get all these kind of nice colours coming from the church. So it was a fun one to do.
And talk to me about the importance of logos in
Of
your
the
work. Logos.
Well, I'm coming from an era of like the 80s that we kind of grew up on all the counterfeits, from Dapper Dan to London, sort of all we was doing T-shirts like Chanel number 5, Gucci and all this, because in those days, people like we coming from a working class background, and obviously we wanted to be part of the rich world, which was the big brands, and most of these big brands really didn't design for us what we liked. So we had to, they wouldn't do a T-shirt with Gucci, and that's standard. So we would go and knock off these things to kind of, I suppose, inspire to be part of this world. So it was really coming from that, we was growing up with of all the brands, and that just kind of continued naturally in my work without thinking, because really lots of the shoots I've been doing from the 90s, so it wasn't very much far from the late 80s when that really started to kind of happen, when I suppose streetwear, the word started to become as a new thing in accepted in the fashion in a sense. So people like Ray Petrie, Buffalo Boys, and so this, all this stuff was really happening in London, and I was part of that at that point of time. And the logos were something at the beginning of that, and that continued in my work. And sadly enough, using it around my frames, I found that it communicates to people, even if they don't like the picture. You bring them into the image. So if they see a Coca-Cola can around the frame in Arabic, they understand it. They say, Coca-Cola, or if it's a Louis Vuitton veil, they say Louis Vuitton. So immediately don't have them fighting from a woman wearing a veil, for example. So that really played a lot in my work, and I think that's part of my journey as well.
And did the brands ever, like Louis Vuitton, ever approach you?
Yeah, I had two situations with them. I had in 2006 or 7, I had a big solo show in Dubai, and it was mainly sort of Arab women with veils, and there was a lot of the veils, obviously Louis Vuitton counterfeit that I bought in the markets, scarves and stuff, and then I had one of the pictures on the cover of the art fair that we're doing in Abu Dhabi. So they saw that, and they came and put a subpoena on me, on my work. So I had a subpoena during that work, and then going forward 3 years later, or 4 years later, 2010, I had another magazine called Art Quarterly. It's a very big art magazine in the UK. Again, I had a cover of one of the girls with the Louis Vuitton veil. So then I got what you call it, email from their lawyer,
Deceased.
and then we decided I'd come to Paris. So I went to their office, had a meeting with them, and we tried to find a way of how to work together. And they kind of offered me maybe to do a campaign for the shop in Marrakesh that was opening. They were gonna maybe buy the Louis Vuitton, the print that was on the cover for their collection. But then there was a but at the end of the conversation, not for me not to stop showing my work that has the Louis Vuitton, um, logos,
Right.
the counterfeit. And this went on for like 6 months after, trying to work out. And then I really had to make a decision. I thought for myself, if I go and start using Louis Vuitton scarves and put on my friend from Morocco as a veil, it becomes more fashion than what it is. I grew up, it was natural for me because I was just buying things, not having money.
Right.
What I understood, the language of that kind of, let's say, community. So we just came to a scenario where nothing happened in a sense. But no, I know they were following the work and they were very nice. They said I had, a lot of people followed my work in the company and stuff. But I think things changed. I think when Virgil came in, he changed because Virgil wasn't one of the people that grew up on counterfeit. He would understand hip hop, he would understand Dapper Dan, and then he had what's his name, Alexandra and Gucci. He grew up on that, so his collection was to kind of do it on the rip-offs of what kind of the counterfeit that happened. And then, as you know, the story of Dapper Dan, that they used his jacket and the internet went mad saying, look, this is the guy who designed it, and Alexander, respect to him, he acted fast. He went and did the
They did the
collaboration.
book and
But it took a few generations
yeah.
to get to that. So my stories coming with that in that world in a sense.
Yeah, because I was in Rome or Milan, I can't remember, when they did the thing for Dapper Dan
Yeah.
with Gucci. They supported him, they did the book, I met him for 2 seconds,
Yeah.
but the book was great.
Yeah,
think
I
it
mean,
was a
he's got a book out on his
ghostwriter.
life. I would love to read, but
That's great.
I'm a fan of Dapper Dan. I think he was groundbreaking of what he did because now people rip off the brand, the actual jacket or the bag. What he did, he redesigned stuff, and he designed stuff because I said earlier on because those brands weren't designing for people like us at that point. But so he was designing stuff that we would wear.
Right.
So he was a designer, but he just played on logos, and he was unique. He's a warrior in the sense because he opened the shop 24/7, 24 hours a day. He had the machines there, had West African sewers there because he understood they can make good stuff. He invested in printing machines to print his logos. So he's really
It was great, and the book is great.
yeah,
It
yeah.
says all that. I guess he probably has a ghostwriter with it, but it was so good. It was kind of like, who was that writer? The guy that used to be, was in jail, Iceberg Slim.
Yeah, yeah.
It
There's
kind
another
of,
story. It's like another character
yeah,
from that exactly. So I mean, he's coming from, he's interesting because he's coming from numbers. He's a mathematic. He's a genius, really. He's old school. He's a genius. People I don't think realize what kind of mind. Forget just what he did, but if you really check him out as a personality, he's definitely a genius in what he does.
yeah, no.
And then later on, later on with the brands, I had a meeting with the Gucci people in Dubai, that take uh, care of the Middle East and African Gucci, and we started working on the project. And it was like 2 years I was working on it. And the whole idea, I took the Dapper Dan, what he did. So I said to them, look, do you want to come to Marrakesh and we can do a Riyadh Gucci? So it's like you have the brownstone in Harlem. Do you want to come into Marrakesh in the middle of Medina and we can create a Riyadh into a Gucci house, but using my style, the way I'm designing, but kind of taking that blueprint and was working on this. I did all the, for 2 years, I worked on capsule and, the design of the place. And then was just getting ready to to share it in Milan with Alexandro, and then 2 weeks later he left the company.
Oh God.
No, but it was a great practice
But
for me. It was really a great practice in a sense to get me
ready
to.
for Valentino.
No? Oh, it's there. It can be changed. The logos can be changed. No, but I'm saying it was great for me as to challenge myself to work to use what I know, what I grew up with, and also the influences, and trying to kind of add on to that in a sense. So it's still the same journey, but just to kind of add on something new to it as well. But it's coming from that.
And the downstairs in the one picture with the shoes with looks like octopus legs. There's 6 different
Yes,
legs,
yeah.
and you have those.
The
It's like
Legos.
yes,
Yeah.
that's so great. Tell me a little bit
So
about
that
that.
was shot for Vanity Fair.
Oh,
That's
was it?
actually Iman. I shot
Okay.
that through COVID. We did like a fashion shoot for Vanity Fair, and so I had all these legs in my shop while I was shooting. So I just wanted to create something a little bit abstract. So all the designs are actually come with their big brands. I think there's Pucci and there's other stuff like that there. And so I used my shoes, the bilra, the Moroccan slipper that I make out of the farine bags, and just play to make it a little bit kind of fun, a little bit abstract in that kind of way. So it's more nothing more than that.
Yeah, it was fun. And how do you do your casting?
Sorry.
How do you do your casting?
I mean, mainly, I don't shoot for magazines or, for publicity or anything like that. So mainly I'm shooting for myself. So it's mainly people, friends or friends of friends, or somebody that, not normally I won't shoot somebody unless we get to know each other, because at the end of the day, it's about trust. Between that person. So there has to be something that I need to connect to, and hopefully vice versa. So it always starts that way. And over the years, I have a list of people to shoot that I know I have that with. So if I find it hard if I have to just shoot somebody, somebody I haven't met and just turn up and shoot, I just wouldn't find it not uncomfortable, but it normally just it would feel like a photo shoot. Normally it's normally have sometimes live music or music, food. So it's a day for me, and he or she or they would remember as well.
And how did you get started in the first place?
Basically, I was just doing. I didn't do any photography classes or any art classes. I was always doing creative stuff in London. I used to do clubs, and I did some art shows for my. I used to have a shop called Rap in 1984. For stand for real artistic people. So it was more like streetwear, which we didn't have the word for it then. So from 1984 until 91, I had the shop in Neil Street in Covent Garden. So I was doing lots of stuff. My friends that were coming out of St Martin's College, they would design stuff for me, and then I would go to New York and buy stuff because it was like around hip hop era. Sometimes come to Paris and get stuff. And then around 1987, there was some of the designers, they started doing diffusion range, like Vivienne Westwood, John Galliano, Nick Coleman. So because they were doing like high end designs, but because the mood of stuff was changing in fashion, they started calling it a diffusion range, a little bit more funky. So I started selling Vivienne Westwood, John Galliano, Nick Coleman. Then I was also doing it with like Cutler and Gross sunglasses, and then some tracksuits I would buy from let's say public school, where they would wear rugby shirts, New York stuff. So I kind of made a mishmash of this. So my shop also, I would do some art shows there, like photography or film, and they had the vinyl record shop in the basement. I was selling, underground party tickets. I had queues outside. So that was my university of learning production. I was running clubs in the evening, so I was very active doing underground parties. So this was my university. And between that, I love photography. So every now and then I would take a camera and take pictures. In 1989, I bought a camera from a friend of mine who was a photographer, professional photographer called Zach Ove. He was a great artist now. And he showed me how to use the camera, and then I would go now and then take pictures, find the set in, ask my friends to come and shoot, and kind of started from there. And then I think from 93, 94, he just like became possessed. I was just taking so many pictures for maybe 8, 9 years, and they were all like on contact sheets and legs, so I never printed everything. And then I met a woman called Rose Issa, who was a very important person in my life, but she was also a very important curator for the Arab artists in London. She was a fighter for the artists, trying to get them in museums and stuff. So she took me under her wing, and she's the one. She's basically, I went, I just asked if she can look at my work to see if I had something there. And I turned up with plastic bags of legs and contact sheets. And she looks at them and she said to me, "Wow, Hassan, you have about 5 years worth of shows here." She goes, "If you want, you don't have to shoot, we just can do shows." And I said, "We?" Because she was a big curator. I was just asking her
Wow.
for the thing. So I went under her wing, but she taught me a lesson. When I came out of the house, I was like, okay. She said to me, "I've got 5 years worth of shows. I'm going to go now and work really hard and trying to make 10 years worth of shows." So I just carried on shooting for just even more than ever before. And I think that was a good learning process. But then it was like,
What was the first show?
the first picture I showed, she chose one. It was like girls on bikes. And
Girls on
yeah,
Bikes.
it
So
was
that's going back to us.
yeah. So
You and Asvaf.
huh?
That goes back to you and Asvaf at
Yes,
Centre Pompidou.
exactly.
Girls
It was
on
this. It was like
Bikes.
yeah. I think she showed them in 2004. Anyway, she showed that and she got into Christie's. One, not that one, but another image, more Orientalist style, and that kind of introduced myself into the artwork because then that sold in Christie's and we had some in Sotheby's, and then I started doing shows in Dubai, London with her and stuff, and it kind of started from there, and then really learned a lot from her about how the art world works as well, because I had no experience in the art world. I was the type
That's
of
great.
person wouldn't even go to a gallery or museum. So
Really?
yeah, because we've
And now
grown
you're in
up.
permanent collections everywhere.
Yeah, no, yeah, and then yeah, no, it's great because then it's like had you stay long term, had you, because artists, you have a window like a boxer or a footballer, you have a window, and so I use my hustle. How can I hustle the art world to stay longevity? So the first thing I did, I printed the same picture with the veil. I had it in the street in big picture in East London. Did it on the back of skateboard. I did it. So it just gave that image for people to notice it, to kind of say, what's this and who's this and all that kind of stuff. And then I started from there. And then I always say, show your best, but don't show your best. And also have enough work to stay relevant to you when something's ready to keep feeding the machine, let's say. And so learned a lot of that, and 35 years I'm still doing shows and stuff like that. So I consider myself very lucky and very honored to stay this long term, and people still taking interest in my work.
And the film you're working on now, tell me about it.
So the film I worked with is very personal. It's between a practice called Gnawa from Morocco and capoeira from Brazil. I used to practice capoeira for many years in London. So I really got into the Brazilian communities as friends and family. And Gnawa I grew up with in Morocco, so I saw a lot of similarity between them. So the first thing I did, I invited the 12 capoeiristas to come to Morocco to do the Gnawa Festival, which is a big festival in Essaouira. It happens once a year, and this was in 2001. So we did the opening of the festival, which is like a very important slot. It's the first group that plays. So the politicians and all the people, come and, it's like the opening of the festival. It's like a 4-day festival. And that gave me the idea from then to try to do a documentary in these two practices. And I had that in my mind for 20 years, and then I had the opportunity in 4 years ago, to show it in Sharjah Bin Ali. So they backed me to do it. Probably say it was through COVID, so it was very difficult moments to film. And so it's a film between two young masters, and it's
How young are they?
they're like, when I say young, probably around 45, 50.
Well, it's all relative.
Huh? Yeah, I mean the main masters, they're like 60, 70, 80, the kind of, let's say the real masters, like thing. And these are the future masters. They're the ones that are going to take that place. So I chose these two masters. One was my teacher from Brazil, and the other one is a good friend from Marrakesh. So I filmed in Marrakesh, and then I went filming in Salvador in Brazil. And then I cut it like a mirror. So you start with an interview with the Gnawa, and then you go meet the pastel in Brazil. Then you meet the ceremony master of the ceremony. Talks about his life and stuff. Then you cut and you go and speak to the priestess of Canton Blade. You cut, and so it's going back like that. Getting all the people that are involved in practice, the drum maker, the outfit maker, the beer and barrel maker, and then in the end I showed the ceremony in both. So it was really very personal practice.
Great. I look forward to seeing it. So what's next?
So next, a nice project I'm doing. I'm doing a very beautiful thing with a friend of mine. His name's El Cid. He's a French Tunisian calligraphy graffiti artist, and last year he did. His family have a small olive farm in Tunisia. So last year he decided to do 2,000 special edition bottles he designed with his artwork on the bottle, and he did like an edition. I think it was like 2,000 bottles or something like that, and he sold them. So this year he wanted to invite other artists to do a collab. So he asked me for this year. So my idea went there. I shot all his family, all the workers that would come as a book, and I designed 3 bottles. Each bottle would have 300.
Edition.
Yeah. So it's 900 bottles altogether, and it's 3 different coloured bottles. So we're dropping that, I think, on the 25th of April. So for me, this was a great project.
That's great.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to see your work, where do they go?
I think if you're in Marrakesh, Ria Dima, I have my work there. If you're in London, they have to get in touch with me. They can go to my studio. And other time, if there's other shows happening. So hopefully have a decent show next year here in Paris. We're just working on like a solo show with a museum.
Which museum?
The music museum next to La Villette.
Okay.
What's the name of that?
Philharmonic.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, so we're just working on
But
that
your
now.
work has been there, didn't you have something in there?
Yeah, I've been in the group shows
Yeah.
and stuff. But this one is nice. It's a solo
In the
show.
disco thing you had something,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Yeah.
But this one is nice. It's an opportunity to show the musicians I've shot. So it's going to be about kids' music show.
And
so
the
the whole show will be
film.
about musicians. And not the film. I'm going to show I have 2 other films, music films. They're like 30 minutes long. I will show those there. It's like
What kind of music?
it's like 10 different artists. Each one performs a song. I've got quite eclectic. I've got people like Hindi Zara, Man Belly Dancer. Have Marcus Tolliver, who plays violin and sings. I have a poet. I have a piano player, choral player. So it's very eclectic, but it's like about 30 minutes long each one. I did 2 volumes so far.
That's great.
So I'm going to show that. So it's really wanted to show the influence of my music, what I'm around, what I grew up with, and introduce musicians that are not also sort of famous in that kind of way. They're talented musicians, and maybe have odd instruments to people, that are not normal, because people are used to, piano, keyboards, guitar and stuff. But in a hung is like, it looks like a space, ship thing.
Satellite.
Beer and Bell is, it's a capoeira, the gimbalry, the choral player. So I'm trying to have this in the show, because also upstairs they have a museum of instruments. So took that influence from there. So then you really get you get part of it to see the musician with not just posing, but having their instrument in their hand.
That's great.
So yeah, that's a good one. It's a fun show, so I'm looking forward to working
So
on
it's
that.
June, you said?
No, that's hopefully September 2026.
Okay.
Yeah.
We keep it in mind.
Yes,
Thank
please
you.
come. Will be confirmed.
Thank you.
Thank you.